So, as you can see, I've got a list here of things I need to do. The plan is to get that engine started sooner than later. So,
what does that mean?
Sooner than later, or get it started?
Sooner than later.
So I want to take that thing for a roll this weekend.
Yeah.
We got throttle and shift cables to get hooked up. Still got to do the raw water system in the vented loop. And then finish the wet exhaust. Hook up the fuel lines. Install the engine control panel in the enclosure right here in the cockpit well. Battery cables. Hook up the bilge pumps. Fill up all the fluids. Engine oil, ATF, and coolant. And I got to get the zinc on the shaft, and I think that's about it. So
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
You might want to make a bigger coffee than that.
Got the new beta keys.
Hey, we're Jenny and Rich, and our stowaway is Twitchell the Marina Cat. We've been documenting the refit of our 1977 Tayana 37 Ramble on for the past several years. I don't think there's a single part of this boat that we haven't repaired, replaced, or improved in some way. We're proud to say we've done 99.9% of the work ourselves. We've gained a lot of knowledge and experience in the process, and we're happy to pass that wisdom on.
Okay, so I'm just finishing up the high temperature exhaust wrap, and I had to take the elbow off again because I still need to route the shift and throttle cables, and that needs to be done before I do the piping crossover for the wet exhaust. Speaking of the wet exhaust, I mentioned we have to use our old muffler, and the diameter is 1 7/8 based on the old exhaust system I told you about, and I'm going to try something like this. It's like you know, that fix-it tape that you can patch a hole in a boat with, as seen on TV. So I'm going to give this stuff a go. This is Gorilla Tape, and just to get some couple of wraps on here to increase the outside diameter of these so I can pop on the new Vetus hose. And so I'm going to hook up the throttle and shift and get those things set up, and then I'll go back to getting this wet muffler installed. So right now I'm just sorting out the cabling for the throttle, and this is the transmission. So I've got to get these things mounted. They're really long from the Perkins because they actually went up and came the opposite direction, like looped around the front of the engine and back. And now these all pull from the behind. So one of them is going to have to go, I think they can both go over along here and then down through the shelf. I don't know if I can make that bend like I like. What might be best is to run them under the floorboards, because this thing, I'm not going to be able to make the bend down and still have a usable shelf in here. Let's try the throttle cable first. Go up around the raw water inlet. And then I kind of got to be inside the cable here, and I think I can go. Let me get it out to there, and then I'm going to pull the engine cover. And okay, that one, I think the throttle I can route back over in here. So the throttle will be okay. I just need to get it up over here and the fuel pump and everything, so I got to access it from that box. This one, I might have to route around this side. So this thing has to mount like right here.
You can't like do a loop-de-loop in it and have it go.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna try and do. I could actually run it way back underneath this dead spot in the under here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll
Like use a little zip tie or something.
yeah, and I'll secure it up and run it this way and then get it over off to the side. You know what I might need to do is actually come in on the other side of the water lines and the bilge.
Oh, underneath
the bilge hoses, yeah. Okay, that'll work. I just got to go up and check the position of the thing at the helm. Pull it up.
Forward or?
Pull it back.
As far back as I can go with the wheel.
That was back towards you?
That was back towards the back of it. She was aft.
Okay.
On the port side.
Okay, now push it forward.
All the way forward.
Okay, let me hook up the thing. Okay, now go ahead and give it some throttle. Like all the way forward.
Okay.
Good. Guess what? I'm not getting enough throw on the fuel pump. I mean, I don't know what wide open throttle is going to be, but it's seems like I'm going to have to move it back. Here's the sea strainer. Hooking up the raw water out of the sea strainer into the raw water pump on the front of the engine. Getting close, by a little. So this is the vented loop, and it's got a hose somewhere. I got in the cockpit, and that hose, it doesn't have a valve in it like a typical vented loop. All it is a bleed. So it bleeds water out all the time, and then it will let air in when the engine shuts down. It'll keep it from drawing a siphon through the heat exchanger, the raw water impeller, if it ever got wore out to the point where water would slip past it a little bit. I'm thinking somewhere in this area, but our current plumbing situation is a bit of a headache. So that's the last piece. You want to know how much extra hose I have? Talk about measuring close.
I guess you did. And no F words this time.
Only if I'd have cut it short.
That's true.
All right, so here's the vent pipe, or yeah, the vented loop. This goes down to the exhaust elbow.
I can do from this side.
And also, there comes out the heat exchanger. So this thing has this little hose, and it needs to spit water, and I'm not sure how much water it spits based on what the raw water impeller spits or turns. So I got to drill a hole somewhere, maybe right back here where the rest of the bilge pumps dump overboard. So just routing the old metal lines that came with the boat and hooking up everything for the fuel system now. I put in a little electric priming pump, and this is mainly just for running it just to bleed the fuel system, get all the air out at the bleed points. So I've got a cram fuel line over top of this, and this one's the return. The bottom one is the fuel inlet into the engine. I'm just going to turn on the fuel pump and see if fuel starts bubbling out of here. It should start
Pumping?
There it is. There's diesel. So I'm going to just give it a little bit more with the electric pump and see if the air bubbles come out. It seems pretty air free. The fuel that's coming out doesn't seem to have bubbles in it.
Okay.
Tighten it down.
That's how we are.
Not yet. Now it is. So I lifted up the floorboards and there was diesel in the bilge, and I noticed a drip coming from the fuel line that comes from the tank, not the return, but the feed line. So looking into that right now. I had a lot of extra, so I ended up coiling it up, and at some point I might have, sorry, it's 45 years old. So I'm going to chop about a foot or so off of this thing and put a new compression fitting on it.
So you have one. That's good.
Basically, I just chop it off down here, and hopefully that does it. Hey, it's the first time we've been out of the slip in a year, except when they turned us around so we could pull the engine. This is sick.
I'm gonna go down. Are you watching the gauges?
I'll keep an eye on it. It's not warm.
I'm gonna go down and listen to it.
Do what you gotta do.